All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? All right, we got a bunch of people in here now. It looks like this is a new one. Take two. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Take two. We're good, guys. We're back in here. Sorry for the first technical difficulty. I'm trying to do some new crazy stuff with the channel, and I think it was a little bit too new and crazy. So, Jason, what's going on, my man?
Dude, not much, bro. I mean, I'm glad that we're here and we can hear each other and everyone can hear us. It's great.
Yeah, it's a lot better, man. It's a lot better. So, yeah, we got looks like we got 7 people in here. We're gonna slowly get some people in here, man. We had 100+ people in here, but we tried to get it done. But next time it's gonna be flawless. But yeah, David Bryan says we're live now. What's up, Maverick? What's up, Cass? Yeah, we can hear Jason now. So thanks guys for going through that experience with me. It was horrible, but it was fine.
It was a learning experience for all of us. We grew together.
Yeah, we grew together. Washington State Jags fan says, "What's up, Jags United?" Redfish. So, all right, man. So, here we are, man. We are, I guess, what are we? Almost 3 weeks removed from the whole Urban Meyer thing. There's been some kind of coaching stuff get like kind of slowly brought in here, and I guess most recently the Senior Bowl actually happened. So did you really pay much attention to the Senior Bowl this year?
No, it's weird. This is like the first year that I really didn't care that much about the Senior Bowl. I mean, I don't know if it was just like the lack of media that were there because of COVID, or I just don't. I don't know. I had no interest in anybody there. The videos of Kadarius Toney were cool, I guess. You hearing about the offensive lineman dominating the defensive lineman, I guess, was cool. But every mock draft has like 50 billion offensive linemen in the first round. So there's no telling who we're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was the same way, man. Usually I'm super into the, really the Senior Bowl. Man, I was, I feel bad about it, but I wasn't super invested in it this year, man. I know like for me, a lot of times, like, and I it kind of sucks because a lot of times I do my call-in shows, and then people will kind of call in and ask me about different college prospects. But I haven't been looking too much into it because I know with me, like, I love the draft so much. But man, like by the time, like, if I start really like looking into all these like players too early and I start watching in January and February and all that stuff, then I get so like drained by draft talk at the beginning of April. I just get so like winded by the time it is. So I try to kind of time it out to where I'm more focused on free agency earlier on, and then I start looking for the draft, or else I'll just get like, I don't know, I just get super like drained by it all.
Yeah, I remember last year I tried to like get into like film breakdowns of guys that we potentially could draft, and I ended up doing a film breakdown of Randy Moss's son or whatever, his the tight end from LSU, and that's like my most viewed video because whoever drafted him, like all their fans came in and like watched the film breakdown. So it's like my most watched video is a film breakdown of Randy Moss's son. So you're not doing that this year. I'm just gonna wait, maybe do some breakdowns of Trevor Lawrence, but I'm a chill this year.
It's funny. In 2017, I did a film breakdown of Solomon Thomas in 2017, and literally like 2 or 3 weeks ago, YouTube gave me a copyright from the 49ers. It was It was from the 49ers. It's like, oh, the 49ers own this film. Like, so you can't get monetized for it. I don't really care. But I'm sitting here like, this is Stanford film, and like 49ers like copyrighted it. That was a little bit weird.
I get a notification from YouTube about copyright issues probably every day. So if there's one thing that I get, it's notifications about copyright issues. I'm surprised I haven't been shut down.
I know you've been going crazy on it, man. Ever since we got Trevor Lawrence, I feel like you're like, dude, like I don't know what happened, man.
It's like the greatest thing that's ever happened to the Jags. It's like I keep pounding that drum. Like people don't realize how amazing this is. Like. The worst thing that could happen would be Trevor Lawrence come here and be unhappy and like demand a trade. Like we got to do everything, buy him a house in Marsh Landing. I don't know what it takes, but like get him here and make him happy.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way, and it's like And it's funny because I'm so confident about getting him, but a lot of people are like, oh, like I'm a little bit worried. Like, what if we don't get him? And I know it's like I know some people are, it's almost like it's too hard to believe and it's too true to believe. But, I'm a firm believer that like Urban Meyer is not here if we do not have the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that. Like, would he have came here? Like, or would
Absolutely not.
You think he would have gone to New York?
I don't think he would have gone anywhere. I mean, I guess if New York maybe at the number 1 pick, but he didn't have he had a relationship with Shad Khan dating back, and it's interesting because we look at really the Urban Meyer press conference and it was really telling. Like he, kind of said, yeah, me and Shad Khan have had a relationship, kind of since the Super Bowl last year. We've kind of been talking. And then he said in the thing, he's like in a press conference, he goes, and the Jaguars had no 1 overall pick. That is by no accident. Shad Khan had control of the roster. And then it was like, the media didn't follow up on that, but he literally said that it was by no accident that the Jags had the number 1 pick. And, with I don't know if like the Jets out there, they maybe kicked the tires on him, but, he was waiting for a perfect opportunity. And maybe he would have gone to maybe the Chargers because they kind of had their quarterback in place. But, I think he was in a situation where it's like, look, like, I'm 58 years old. I can maybe get into the NFL next year or kind of wait for the perfect opportunity. But I mean, you got to think, I mean, he's not necessarily old, but he's not getting any younger. And you got to think like, this Jaguars gig, if this probably is his last really head coaching gig, you would think. And, I think he wants to go out as the best coach of all time, like college and NFL.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about the other day, like he's the only coach in college to have 4 separate 20-game winning streaks, which is like mind blowing to me. Like if he can win in the NFL level, he will go down in history as like one of the best coaches ever. Like,
yeah,
like I know you got to like stack titles against like Belichick. I get that. And like guys that have won multiple titles, even guys like Andy Reid now are starting to get up there in like legacy. But if he can do it here in the NFL, then I mean, he's going down as one of the best ever. And people always say that every time we do a show. People always talk about
it's not people. It's Hunter Miller. I did a live stream with myself. It was just by myself on Sunday, and he says you would make a beautiful baby with yourself.
Hey, $2, dude! Shout out to Hunter, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he went on record of saying like in the past that Trevor Lawrence is one of his favorite players to ever come out. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Trevor Lawrence was huge as far as that goes.
Yeah, and it's and yeah, like I mean, and if you hear about him talk about Trevor Lawrence, man, he talks so great of him, and I mean, he knows the opportunity at hand, and I mean, and it's crazy. Like the more we hear, like because of course 1010XL has former guys on, and I listened to actually a week or two ago, the Move the Six podcast, Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks, like they did a full like 30-minute like episode on Urban Meyer, and they played back like a previous interview that they had from a few months back, and like, oh my god, it's just like this guy. I mean, because you get the impression that like because people say, oh, Steve Spurrier didn't do good in the NFL, but Steve Spurrier, it felt like he took the Washington job because he was like, oh, Washington wants me to coach, oh fuck it, yeah, I'll do it, and then like he just goes there, he's like, this whatever, I don't really like this, I'm out of here. But Urban Meyer like has put in so much prep work, has put in so much like studying. He's interviewed former players, interviewed coaches, and all that stuff. Like he's really done the homework about this, and he isn't going into just willy-nilly like, oh, I'll try this out and we'll see how it goes. Like, dude, this guy like wants to be great. He wants to succeed, and like I mean, the more you think about it, the more it makes sense, because at first it's like, people, oh, I don't like to think, oh, no NFL experience, oh, college coaches don't translate well. But like, I mean, the more you just sit here and think about it, man, it is such like a home run hire.
I think trying to blanket coaches can't make the transition because one college coach couldn't do it, another college coach couldn't do it. That's like the same line of thinking that like because a player from this certain college wasn't good, now this next player from that same college isn't going to be good. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like, it sounds nice to say, but just because the player came from Florida doesn't mean he's going to be bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to just blanket and say just because he's coming from college, he's not going to be able to make the transition because every case is different. I mean, in Steve Spurrier's example, no one's been good in Washington. Ron Rivera is the best coach they've ever had there, like as far as like how they've done. So you can't really judge, I don't think, in my opinion, off of that and how that goes. And I think that Shad Khan's kind of had this like coming for a while. I mean, you look at the moves they did last year that made no sense at the time when they traded Campbell, they traded Ngakoue, they traded Ramsey. I mean, I know they demanded trades, but I mean, they got rid of a lot of assets and they stockpiled draft picks and cap room and young talent. And it kind of seemed like Shad Khan was planning this way before any of us were thinking about Urban Meyer making the jump. I was listening to an interview with Major Wright, who played safety at Florida under Urban Meyer, won the national championship in 2008. And he said that he worked harder at UF than he did at Tampa and Chicago in the pros. He said Urban like demanded so much more of them and made them watch more film and practice harder that it was harder at Florida than it was in the pros. And that like really stood out to me.
Yeah. And that's kind of how he is, man. It's, I mean, everybody that just talks about him just talks about how like excellent he was, and just not only does he come in here just as a coach, man, he's obviously got to rebuild the Jaguars culture, but like other than that, man, the guy just knows football. The guy knows so much about football. He knows about like every position, and he takes it so seriously. I mean, I remember watching an interview with Jeremy Foley on 1010XL, and he was basically saying like, look, like I mean, this guy put in so much work. He like really cared about it. Like he and one thing that was cool I heard from Daniel Jeremiah's podcast. I need to listen to it again because it was really good. Like he says that like you need to walk into every interview and come out of every interview and feel like you changed somebody, because he says that like if you don't come in and demand attention, people aren't going to take it seriously. And he says that he's come out of meetings and been like, that was not a good meeting. And, that's not how you had to come away from meetings. It's like you have to do every meeting like it's somebody's like last meeting. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and just like hearing him, and it's just so refreshing. And, we could talk about Shad Khan, man. Like we give Shad Khan, at least the fan base seems like they give Shad Khan kind of a lot of crap, but like he seemed like he was playing 40 chess, man, because last year it was like, dude, why do we not fire Doug Marrone? Like, why do we not fire Doug Marrone? But then like you look at it and, we kept him for a year. And how much more attractive is this head coaching job this season than it was, last year when it was like we had like the number 8 or 9 overall pick. You had Gardner Minshew at quarterback, really not much else. And like look at the situation, like how much like we got the big fish because we were arguably at least at the very least the consistent like top 2 spot in the NFL when it comes to a GM or head coaching landing.
People were like ready to riot because they kept Dave Caldwell. Like we were all like, what are they doing? And everyone on here and people I've talked to were like, oh, I think they're going to keep Caldwell and Marrone and they're going to keep them long term. Why else would they let them be making 2 first-round picks in 2019 or 2020? And it's just like literally like I had no idea what they were doing. I was like, I don't know what they're doing. Like it doesn't seem like they would keep them, but who knows with Shad Khan. But now that we see what's happened, it kind of makes sense. Like, can you imagine them firing Caldwell last year, hiring a new GM, and then firing that one again and hiring Urban? That would have been a mess. So yeah, we took our lumps this year. We had 1 win. It's like, look, if you think about it, it was the worst season we've ever had as Jags fans. Least amount of wins. We've never picked first in the draft ever. Yet there's so much more hope this year than any of the years in this decade besides 2017. Like that's just mind blowing to think about because we all know what's coming. The whole national media knows what's coming. That's why they're trying to get Trevor Lawrence out of here because they know that the impact he's going to have on Jacksonville. And it's just, I mean, you see the guys that Urban's bringing in on his staff. I mean, they're all veteran guys. They've been around for a long time. He's not bringing in guys that they don't know their stuff. I mean, Joe Cullen on the defense is really well respected in the league for a long time. So, I mean, he's bringing in guys that can really do it. And I'm super pumped. I mean, that you can see it by the amount of videos that I just be putting out, randomly late at night.
Now, it is interesting when you kind of look at the coaching staff that he's put together because, at first, like in the first, week, he hired a few guys he knew. Like he hired Charlie Strong is the assistant coach. Obviously, has a former relationship with him, and it's probably a good position. Like hire someone as the assistant coach that an assistant under you that what you're getting out of, and not just kind of a stranger to come in here and kind of do it with you. He hired the strength and conditioning director, which is like that position. It's we probably won't, Joe Schlegel, we know the name, we heard the hiring, but now it's like we probably won't ever mention him again just because, it's a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, he's a hype guy.
Yeah, he's a hype guy. Then they hired another like former Gator, Ohio State guy to kind of work. He's like a director of scouting or something like that. But other than that, man, he went out there, and I like how he went after NFL experience. It seems like some of the guys that they hired, like Darrell Bevel, he's been like exclusively NFL guy. He's been an offensive coordinator like every season since I think like the late 2000s with the Seahawks. Then obviously moves over to the Lions, and then they also got Joe Cullen, who was a defensive line coach. He's more of like the up and coming guy, it seems like, because you look at his resume, it's like all D-line experience. It's like D-line here, D-line there, D-line that, and then now he's a defense coordinator. But from what everyone's saying, that's a pretty good hire, and it's a lot of people have I guess like the national guys all say it's a pretty good hiring. Obviously, us we don't know as much about this kind of thing because it's a defensive line coach for the Ravens. But you would think that that's just what I like about the hiring so far. It's like you're not going out there and hiring guys at Ohio State. It seems like he's getting a deep dive and bringing in people that that he doesn't know, but also people that it seems like have pretty good resumes.
Yeah, Cullen was a guy that people have said over and over again was a guy that should have been a defensive coordinator a long time ago, but his history of getting in legal trouble has kind of prevented him from doing it. And that's actually the type of guy I like. I love rolling the dice on guys that haven't been given a chance and have proven that they're skilled and have good reputation. No one has anything bad to say about Joe Cullen, but yet you read his Wikipedia, you read how he was driving through a Wendy's naked drunk, and you're like,
I know.
But no one has anything bad. No one in the NFL, no former player has anything bad, but everyone's like, he deserves this. He deserves this chance. He deserves this job. And that's a good, I'm glad. Bevel, I'm a little skeptical about Bevel. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't huge on his offensive philosophy in Detroit. I went back and watched a lot of film of him last year. The dude does a lot of max protection, 2 receiver routes. That's not my style. I'm not a big fan of that. If that's, I hope Urban doesn't allow him to do that type of stuff. But I realized they had 2 good receivers and they had some good tight ends up there and they had a good quarterback. But I'm not trying to watch play action with 2 receivers running routes. I don't know. People change, and he probably had his offensive philosophy to his personnel. I'm a little skeptical of Bevel, though. I know people are big on him. I know they love his history with the Seahawks. The players obviously love him. Matt Stafford had nothing but great things to say about him, which I think speaks pretty heavy to me. Whatever players say, I trust them. But I hope Urban kind of has more control over the offense than Bevel did in Detroit, is all I'm saying.
So is he more of a because you're kind of more of the film guy. So is he kind of a establish the run to set up the play action type of offense?
Super boring offense. Super boring. Like stack the box, run, play action, run, play action. And it works. I'm okay with that. I'm not saying I'm against that philosophy. It's just boring. And I don't necessarily think the Jags are set up like that. We don't have big tight ends. We don't have Hawkinson. We don't have guys that can come in and do both. And, they ran fullbacks on a lot of plays. We don't have a fullback, right? So we're going to have to either change our personnel or Bevel's going to change his philosophy. Very conservative. A lot of quick plays, a lot of throwing it, 2-step drops, 3-step drops, the screens, flares. There was none of that intermediate game, nothing to the sideline. Everything was to the middle of the field. And look, I know these coaches know what they're doing. I'll never say a bad thing about a coach because everyone in the NFL knows what they're doing when it comes to coaching. He's just very conservative. And I'm not a big fan of conservative play calling, but again, that's just me. Bevel knows way more than me, but I'm just hesitant. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that definitely does change because I wonder if it has to do a lot with like what personnel is best over there because they had a few running backs. I mean, with Swift, they had on Johnson, obviously Adrian Peterson, Hawkinson was their tight end, and then like Kenny Galladay was pretty much hurt all the year,
Yeah.
and then I think Marvin Lewis or Marvin
Marvin
Jones is getting
Jones.
a
He
little
had
bit
a good
older.
year. Marvin Jones had a
Yeah,
good year. They had another receiver that had a pretty good year. I can't remember who it was.
was it Amendola? I mean,
Amendola, I think he was their third or fourth. There's another guy. I can't remember who it is, but
yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Urban's the guy, though.
I wonder how much Matthew because also Matthew Stafford, man, like God, that guy has been hurt like crazy, man. Like I wonder if he was like, look, like let's keep some guys in to kind of protect me a little bit
Yeah.
because you know, what I mean,
Well,
but I don't know.
they were like
I feel like
10th
Urban Meyer will
in
probably have
passing offense and like
yeah,
10th in attempts. So I mean, like they were around that 10th area, but I mean they threw it a lot. Like they threw the ball way more than they ran. Stafford had over 4,000 yards. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, Urban's gonna have to call the shots. I mean, he's the CEO. So
yeah. Dude, speaking of Matthew Stafford, man, what did you think of that trade that went through when the Rams traded to the Detroit Lions a 2022 first, a 2023 first. I believe this year they gave up a third round pick and obviously Jared Goff in return for Matthew Stafford. So when you saw that, what did you think of it?
the only explanation for it, and I wouldn't have made the trade. The only explanation for it was the Rams are in a position where like we have to win now. Like we have pretty much no salary cap room. I was like, why wouldn't they go after Deshaun Watson? They probably could have packaged together something similar and gotten Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson's going to be making what, like $15 million more a year than Stafford is. And I don't know if they have the cap room for that. I think is what that came down to. But I mean, that can be the only explanation. McVay had to have looked at the GM and been like, look, only reason why we didn't go to the Super Bowl is because our quarterback position held us back. And they said that, and the GM said, all right, well, let's bring in a guy that we know can not be a liability. And Stafford is a great quarterback. And the Rams have a really good defense, and they have playmakers. So if the Rams can stay healthy, they're going to be a contender in the NFC next year, no doubt about it. But their window is very, very short with Matt Stafford and that contract situation that they have up there.
Yeah. And like at first you see it and it's like, man, like I don't know how I felt about it at first. It was like this is just it was such a weird trade, you know what I mean? And obviously, like there's probably going to be a weirder trade this year when it comes to the Deshaun Watson trade. Like I can't imagine if that's what Matthew Stafford gives you. Like then all of a sudden this is what that one gives you. Like I wonder if because obviously the Rams like they needed to move on from Jared Goff in some capacity because like I mean he was ultimately holding the team back. They got a lot of money tied up over there with Aaron Donald and obviously. Jalen Ramsey just got a contract. They don't have a lot of draft capital. They don't really believe in first round picks. As obviously the Jaguars have their first round pick this year. But you know what I mean? They go out there. They finally do get a quarterback, and I like Matthew Stafford a lot more than Jared Goff. And I don't know because I sit here and look at like what I wonder what the direction of the Lions is right now. Because are they a team that do they believe in Jared Goff, or are they just sitting here saying, look, like Jared Goff, we'll just eat this contract because we don't really care about next year, then maybe next year we'll get the number one pick. Obviously it's weird because they don't get their pick this year, so their first round picks won't come until next year. It's just really weird. I don't know. Like but obviously I think honestly both teams honestly did a pretty decent job depending on really what the Lions want to be next year.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the Rams are probably going to be better next year than they were this year. And they would have had the 25th pick this year. So really the Lions are getting probably like around 30th pick next year. So if you think about where the actual picks are, like a first round pick is a sexy term, but in reality, it's going to be at the very, very end of the first round. So they didn't really give up a premium pick. And what type of players are there at the end of the first round? Like, yeah, you can hit on them, but you could also get a guy like Taven Bryan. So it's like those picks aren't as valuable to me. And I know first round pick, everyone wants to have those, but when you're picking 30 and 29, like how valuable is that first round pick? And I mean, I know draft picks are valuable and the Rams aren't picking. I think I saw something. The Rams aren't having a first round pick in like 7 years. If you go back to like
Yeah, to go back to
2017 or
Jared
something.
Goff, like
If you go back to that. But if you look at all their draft picks in the first round in the 2010s, the only pick they hit on was Aaron Donald. So, I mean, that's it. So, if they looked at it, they're like, look, what are our chances of hitting on this pick? Then let's just trade it away. I mean, I think you're right. I think both teams worked out. The Lions, I think they're in rebuild mode. So, hopefully their coach isn't a scapegoat.
Yeah, and it's interesting. In the 2021 NFL draft, the Detroit Lions are picking at number 7, which is like it goes Jacksonville, New York, Miami, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Detroit. So I guess the teams before them, the Jets, one way or another, will probably get a quarterback. I mean, I think that the number 2 pick, a quarterback, is going to go, whether it's New York or another team. Atlanta at number 4. I mean, even the Dolphins at number 3, man. I mean, they could get either Justin Fields or or Zach Wilson if they really want to if they see that, look, we don't project us to be in the top 5 next year to get a guy. Maybe they go out and get a quarterback. Atlanta, Matt Ryan's getting older. I feel like they might go quarterback. So, I mean, I wonder if they sit there at number 7 and try to get like a Trey Lance or something like that. I don't know. They're in a weird position this year to really like get one of these quarterbacks coming out.
Well, I mean, you got to remember Deshaun Watson's going to go somewhere. So he's going to take up one of those picks. I could see him going to Miami. I could see him going to Chicago. I could see him going, any of those places. I mean, there's going to be some premium players there at 7 for sure.
Speaking of Detroit, what if Detroit hands out some of those picks? And I mean, they have a plethora of
I guess you're right
picks now.
But the problem is Deshaun Watson has that no trade clause. So is Deshaun Watson going to want to go to Detroit? I have a hard time believing he's going to want to go up there. But maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, that franchise is as inept can come, man. They're definitely out there. But I don't know, man. That's another thing, man. Deshaun Watson. Oh, that's something in itself. So I mean, with Deshaun Watson, man, like, we see this trade. Like, what do you make of that situation?
Just get him out of the AFC South. Yeah. Get him out. I don't care where he
sits against them, dude. Good riddance. Get out of here.
I think he's a great fit in San Francisco. I think he's a great fit in New York. I think he's a great fit in Miami. So many great fits. Get him out. Get out. We don't want to play you anymore. We'll see you in the playoffs. I don't want to see that man ever again.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people say. I've seen Jags fans say like, oh, like, Deshaun Watson, AFC South is a good thing, man. Like, we beat the best if you can. I'm like, nah, dude. Like, I am good. Like, go. Like, if I'm in the playoffs and we have a quarterback, like, we're gonna play Josh Allen. He's questionable. Like, I don't want him to play, man. I don't. Super Bowl. If you win a Super Bowl, you're not gonna look a decade back and be like, you know what, but. In the divisional round,
we beat the best.
Yeah. In the divisional round, like it's a little bit unfair because we didn't beat a Josh Allen-led Bills. We beat a Matt Barkley-led Bills. So that's going to taint our Super Bowl a little bit. Like, no. Like, go in there and it's the same thing when we look at like we were 2017 AFC South champions. That was a great season and everything. But you look back and it was obviously a fluke. But at the same time, I'm not going to look back and picture that as any less fun of a season than it actually was, man. I mean, it was really an awesome time back then.
Yeah, I mean, Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback, and the fact that there's even a conversation that he's as valuable as Trevor Lawrence speaks to the fact of how good he is, and the fact that he went so late in the draft. I mean, I know it wasn't super late, but people didn't want Deshaun Watson. They didn't believe in him. He was one of those first guys that kind of came out of some of those schools that weren't known for putting out quarterbacks, a little undersized, was looked at as one of these mobile guys that wasn't going to be able to make it in the NFL, and proved everyone wrong. So, look, I got nothing but respect for Deshaun Watson. He's a great quarterback. I was pissed when the Texans drafted him because I knew he was going to be good. But you know what? Get him out, dude. Like, great guy. Yeah. Go play in the NFC.
Yeah. And that's where do you think he ultimately ends up? Like, what spot do you think he goes to?
Dude, something in my gut tells me Miami, and I know they have Tua, but I feel like they're pretty close, and I feel like Miami's a pretty close team from being a playoff team. And I think if they added Deshaun Watson, I think that'd be a good fit. I mean, there's not a lot of situations that Deshaun Watson would give the thumbs up to with his no trade clause, but Miami has to be one of them, right? Going to Miami, no state income tax, living in South Beach. Decent team around him. cap room to go get better players. Teams are going to want to go to Miami to play with him. I think it's a great fit. But, San Francisco could be good. New York would be a big market.
Yeah.
Those would be my three.
Yeah, I feel like I think because right now it's like a big debate. Like Jets fans are really thinking they're gonna get him. Like I don't know as much about the Jets because like the Jets, I don't see them and Joe Douglas like giving up all that draft capital and everything required to get him. Like I just feel like they're not the risk it to kind of get it kind of team. Like I see the Miami Dolphins more, and also Miami Dolphins, they can, because obviously in the trade, you're going to have to give up a quarterback in the process. And like, I mean, if you're sitting here, I would much rather Tua, with at least 3 years left on his contract, and Darnold that you have to later on in the year, like you have to make you put a 5th round option decision on it before he even plays a NFL snap for you. That's kind of something better to give up. And I don't know, like, but at the same time, man, there could be an out of nowhere team come out there. One team that nobody is talking about, I see no mention of it, but it's the Atlanta Falcons, man. Like the Atlanta Falcons, they had the number 4 overall pick, so they have a pretty decent spot right there. They have a quarterback like, even though he's older, Matt Ryan, that they can give up. Obviously, I don't think their cap situation is as good as it could be, but like nowadays, I don't even look at cap space because like the Saints are like way, way, way under the cap, has spent so much money, but they can still sign guys like Alvin Kamara. So I think teams can kind of figure it out. And also Deshaun Watson is from Atlanta. So I think that could maybe be like a dark horse team that he kind of goes to. But I don't know, like the Stafford thing, that like the Rams, that came out of nowhere. I was thinking Stafford, I was thinking like when I heard Stafford wanted to get traded, I was like Colts. Like right away, I'm like, yeah, he's going to the Colts. But obviously that kind of swerved a little bit, but I don't know, like that. I could just see maybe Deshaun Watson, the Falcons coming out of nowhere getting him.
Yeah, I mean the Falcons but they're in that tricky 4 spot, like you said. Like it could be Zach Wilson available, it could be Justin Fields. Like you don't know until the draft, which sucks because if you're the Texans, you kind of have to consider that as well because you don't know what type of quarterback is going to be available at 4. I mean, we know 1, Trevor Lawrence, but 2, 3, 4, I could see in every different scenario order. Like Penei Sewell, I mean, I've seen him at 2. I've seen Kyle Pitts at 3. Like there's no telling what's going to happen. That's the great thing about the draft, and especially years like this where there's no like clear cut 1, 2, 3, 4 like there has been in the past. The Zach Wilson, Justin Fields dynamic is going to be very, very interesting because a lot of people have Justin Fields mocked to Atlanta right now, but what if he goes 2? And it's tough. It's going to be interesting. I'm glad we're not in that situation. I'm glad we're not in that position where we're having to. I mean, remember all the years the Jags were picking 7, 6, 5, and we're like, well, let's take best available player. Let's see who's going to be there. And it's like, glad we're not there. Give us the best guy, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and I don't know, like you could sit here and say like literally, Houston Texans literally this year could have Matt Ryan and Justin Fields like on their team. You know what I mean? Like, and all these a plethora of other draft picks. So I don't know. It's an NFC team that I feel like is a little bit of a dark horse. But yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, there's so much quarterback, especially this year. Like, there's more quarterback like talk about who's going to go where this year than I can like ever remember. But it's just nice to be in the Jaguar situation right now where we don't have to jump into it all. I know the national media tries to kind of push this narrative of how can the Jaguars somehow not draft Trevor Lawrence. Matt or Stafford, wanted out of Detroit because they didn't keep Bevel. Bevel's on the Jaguars now. Could there be a move? It's like, oh my God, can we stop? And then freaking like Brett Favre. Did you see what Brett Favre said? Like, he said that he would draft the Devontae Smith over Trevor Lawrence because quarterback isn't like their top need. And I'm just like why do like sometimes like I love former players, but man, like former players really sometimes give the whole you've never played the game narrative. But it's like, there can be nerds like me that have never played football at the college or pro level that can sit here and have better takes than guys that played the game. And it's just like, it's such a ridiculous thing to say. It's like Jaguars have never had a quarterback, and now you're going to try to act like a wide receiver should be the move. It's like, dude, get out of here, man.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start to wonder. I mean, the amount of hits those guys took to the head. I mean, it's gotta weigh on you at some point. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
ludicrous thing to say, but these guys are just looking for clicks. Anyone that's saying Trevor Lawrence shouldn't go to Jacksonville, they want people to click on their article, to click on their tweet, to like it, to retweet it, all that stuff, and that's all it is. It's just a cheesy attempt to get clicks.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out to Steve Boston for the $4 donation. Also, I do want to give a couple of quick shout outs. I do want to give a shout out to all the channel members. I've had a pretty big uptick in channel membership. So that's really awesome. Shout out to everybody in the Cub and Big Cat level. Also, shout out to everyone in the Pride of UCF Jaguar. I'm at over 40 members right now. So your guys' support is really, it's humbling. I'll just say that at the very least. So if you guys are members, man, go ahead and drop those Duval emojis down below for sure. But also, I do want to give a quick shout out. I partnered up with WinX DVD, and actually, if you go to the description of this video, they are actually giving out a free PlayStation 5. It's like a giveaway for I guess the Super Bowl. So go over there. I put the link to it down below, so you can go down there. They're giving out a free PlayStation 5 in a giveaway. So definitely, you guys will want to kind of go down there and do that. But speaking of YouTube and or partnerships or whatever, you're now officially a YouTube affiliate, man. How does it feel?
It feels good, to be part of the elite. I look down on the peasants now, and I sit up in my chair, and I am like, man. And I remember when I wasn't a part of. No, I'm just kidding. It is what it is. I don't even know what it means. It's cool. I like to tell people that. Look, it's like you said, man. Humbled. You do a good job with your channel. My channel, if people watch my show, I just read people's comments. Like I do nothing. I literally just read people's comments, and the fact that people subscribe and like and all that stuff, I'm humbled. Dude, I love the Jags, and I love talking about the Jags. Doing this with you is like one of my favorite things to do, like on earth. Like I'm pumped. I'm having a great time right now. If I could do this all day, every day, I would. So I'm just glad that people are here listening.
Yeah, man, it's cool being a YouTube partner or whatever, but I gotta say now, man, you're no longer in the retention pond, man. You're out in the deep ocean, and there are sharks like us out there that will eat you alive. So, are you prepared? Are you prepared for the pressure that comes along with it?
I think so. I think so. I have a pretty laissez-faire attitude about most things in life, and I'm gonna keep that same approach here with YouTube. So, hopefully, I don't get devoured by the big dogs like you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll see. We'll see about it. But hey, I always appreciate having you on, man. But yeah, guys, go ahead. And if you guys have any question for us, definitely leave them down below. I always I don't do good enough reading comments when I'm with Jason, just because we get pretty immersed in Jags talk, and literally 99% of the time I talk to Jason is literally in front of over 100 people. So I don't really get to talk to him super often. So you guys, of course we got to catch up with kind of how our Jags takes are going. And obviously with me, the only time I really talk Jaguars football to anybody is with my brother, my dad, and Jason, and people on my call-in shows. It's pretty much how it is though, man.
Well, I think everyone in your chat would agree, because they're all super Jags fans. Like, talking to the casual Jags fan is pretty miserable. They're, oh, the Jags suck. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, they have no idea what's going on. So it's painful. And people know that you follow the Jags, so they try to talk to you about the Jags, but the whole time you're just thinking these people have no idea what they're talking about at all. And I know everyone in your chat can relate to that, because it's a pretty common problem with people that are big fans like us.
It's just annoying. It's people will be like, "Oh, you're a Jags fan? Why do you do that to yourself?"
I love that. Yes.
It's yeah, man. It is what it is. I'm a Jaguars fan. It's just what am I supposed to say? I don't know.
Well, maybe next year. You always give him the same, can we end this conversation, please?
Yeah, it's we got it's people that's why I don't even wear Jaguar stuff out in public all that much, because it's because people see, and they're they start trying to talk to me about the Jaguars, and I'm just and sometimes it's cool talking football, but then you realize soon into the conversation that they really know nothing about football. They're like, oh, my favorite team's the Dolphins. And it's like, oh, what do you think about, like Tua? And they're like, oh, yeah, yeah, I think he's all right. And it's just like, oh my God, like I know more about their team than they do. And it drives me nuts.
Yeah, I know. And then I compound people like, yeah, I'm a Magic fan too. And they sucked. So, I mean, it's been great.
Yeah. Shout out to Steve Boston with the $4 donation. He says, who do you guys like in the Senior Bowl as picks? I'll be honest with you. I was talking about this earlier. I did not pay that much attention to the Senior Bowl this year. I know I was busy yesterday. I was actually at a party yesterday during the day, a little day party.
Dang, dude.
Yeah.
Big time in us.
I may or may not be hungover doing this live stream, but that could make this better or worse. I don't know. I know if you guys caught the first live stream, I think you guys might have seen the side effects of alcoholism, but yeah, I mean, I'll watch this. I'll rewatch a Senior Bowl for sure, but I didn't get the chance to watch it. But I don't know. Did you check out the Senior Bowl at all?
I mean, I watched like the highlights that people posted. I mean, obviously everyone saw that Tony clip of him dropping the ball. Everyone saw Mac Jones throwing, and all that. I mean, I didn't watch the game, and usually I do, but like I said, this year, I mean, there's not a lot of interest for the Jags this year. I mean, we're not looking at best available player until pick 25, and by then, I mean, you're taking flyers on guys at that point. So I mean, I got Trevor Lawrence. I'm watching Trevor Lawrence film. I don't need to watch the Senior Bowl. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I'm like the exact same way. It's like, dude, let me. It's just fun, man, and and it's funny. Like now, and I do want to touch on this. I want to kind of touch on this earlier, and that's the Trent Baalke hire. Like when we hired him, I did not like it. I was like, dude, like, why do we do this? Obviously, if you talk to any 49er fan, they say that he destroyed the franchise. And, obviously there were guys like Rick Smith, just better guys available. But the more I sit here, the more I just realize that, dude, like Urban Meyer's a GM. Like, is there a guy out there that knows this draft class better than Urban Meyer? Urban Meyer recruited this whole entire draft class. Urban Meyer was covering college football when this class was in college. And like, he knows this draft class better than anybody out there. Dude, he's making these picks. Like he's making these draft picks, and he's going to be largely involved in free agency. And like Trent Baalke is literally here for when we have Quincy Williams get put on the IR and he goes out there and poaches somebody from the Kansas City practice squad. Like that's Trent Baalke's job. But Urban Meyer, dude, he's going to be making the picks. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, people don't realize how many like transactions there are on a weekly basis in the NFL. Like guys signed up to a practice squad to the roster, vice versa. Like you said, other teams' practice squad, bringing a guy from another team's practice squad to run a scout team because you're playing a team with a mobile quarterback this week. There's so many transactions in any given week that Urban Meyer is not going to do. And I can't think of a better person to do that than Trent Baalke. He's got so much experience. He's got his tentacles everywhere. He's been in the league for a while. That's the type. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, he's overqualified to do that. So I'm glad we have him, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Predator for the $5 donation. He says, my second favorite hiring is the wide receiver coach. He oversaw the development for Michael Gallup. Makes me hype. Set up members and donos, Jason. Yeah, he wants the donations, man. He wants the membership, dude. You got a membership coming your way.
I'm gonna have to get with you on how to do that. I'm still new. I just got my partnership, man. I still got to figure it all out, man. I'm a baby in this process. So
hey, bro, I still haven't figured out my live stream, so I'll try to help you as much as I can. But I'm over here thinking I'm 10K gold, and I'm over here looking like a preschooler. But yeah, the wide receivers coach, I know that was an unpopular hiring, not so much because of the guy, but who we let go. Keenan McCardell was out of here. I wasn't as emotionally tied to Keenan McCardell as a lot of people, just because he's been the wide receiver coach since 2017. He's the only wide receivers coach some of these guys have had. Like sometimes you just got to kind of flip the position because you need new voices in these guys' heads. You need like DJ Chark, that's been his only wide receivers coach. Get another guy in here, a fresh set of eyes to kind of look at him. And hell, maybe 5-6 years down the line, Keenan McCardell comes back. But I think it was almost a mutual kind of thing that kind of he got out of here, and that's how it is with position coaches, man. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I agree 100%. They kept George Warhop on the offensive line, and really wasn't crazy about that because just like you said, I don't want them to. I don't want the same voice. If Urban's coming in with a different philosophy and a different culture, I want every position coach with that same rhetoric and that same tone. And like you said, Keenan McCardell would probably have no problem adjusting, but like you said, hearing a different voice, that's big. And look, we all said it. We all said that Keenan wasn't going to get retained, but he was going to go somewhere else and he's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. Keenan's going to be fine. He's a good coach. He's a good guy. I loved the mic'd ups with Keenan McCardell. I love Keenan McCardell. I mean, I loved him when he was a player here, even more than Jimmy Smith. And I know people loved Jimmy Smith when he was here, and the narratives kind of changed because of the legal issues that Jimmy Smith got into. But I was a big McCardell guy, and I followed him when he went to Tampa and in his career after that. So love Keenan. It's a position coach. It's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Shout out to B New for the $25 donation. He says, just left Duval back up here in Atlanta, but was looking forward to you going live and drop more content. Absolutely, man. You guys, thanks so much for your donation, man. You've been super supportive to me. Yeah, we'll be posting up content, all the time. And I know in case you guys haven't already, man, I'm here with Jason from Jaguars United. He's got his own YouTube channel. I plugged that link down below. So definitely go subscribe to his channel. He goes live all the time. We're kind of the two guys on Jags YouTube that are doing kind of, live shows and stuff like that. It's it's a lot of fun, man. We really enjoy doing this, and it really gives us a chance to kind of interact with all you guys.
Sometimes, like, I don't know. I mean, you may do this. You may just be more composed than me, but sometimes I'll go live feeling a little spicy. A night out with the boys, start talking about the Jags, and we'll go live. So if you and then I'll delete them because we had a huge issue the other day with I was on with my buddy. We were talking and we left the mics hot during a break segment.
Oh man.
So I had to delete that one because that would have incriminated me in a lot of ways. So that was a great live show. Got to catch them live because sometimes they will not stay up.
Dude, that's I was wondering why you guys took it down, but hey man, if you got a hot mic, no telling what is going to go down. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, you live, you learn,
Dude, I used to have this issue with my old laptop. I would be on OBS, which is like a streaming service, so you guys don't know. And like I would, for some reason, like it would phantomly like start streaming like out of nowhere. So I would be adjusting settings, and also next thing I know, like it's looking up my nose as I'm like setting all these like things, and I'm getting like notifications on here, and it's like, oh shit, there's 90 people watching me update my settings. And it was just like I had to stop streaming. And I would have to go in and like change my stream key. So once it phantomly went live, I wouldn't be on my channel. But it was like the most embarrassing stuff. I'm like, I don't know if anybody said anything in the background, but it's one of those things that's like, I'm not like, I just delete it right away.
Dude, it's crazy, dude. It's live shows they're risky. They're definitely risky.
Yeah. Shout out to David Bryan for the $5 donation. UCF Jag and Jason to join up for a Jags home. Dude, absolutely, man. Yeah, this upcoming season, I don't know what the COVID protocols will be and everything, but maybe we'll meet up, go, get a tailgating spot, and we can hit you guys up. Everyone come over, and we can all meet and drink together, man.
We met up a couple years ago for a Jags home game, and then we were both in Denver at the same time. But I hit the BCB pregame party a little too hard, and I was actually late to the game, but it was a great game. I'm glad I made it there, but I was struggling to get there on time.
Yeah, that's it was fun out there in Denver. I was doing kind of my thing. It was cool, man. It was a cool atmosphere out there, and I don't know, just every time I've been to a bunch of different stadiums. Everything's just cool to be at. Like when you're in an away field, especially like going to somebody else's house and winning, because I remember in 2020 I went to the Jags Denver game. We won over there. 2019 I went to the Jaguars Giants game. No, 2018 I went to the Jaguars Giants game. But then later on in 2018 I went to the Jaguars Chiefs game, and we got absolutely blown out. Like Bortles threw like 4 or 5 picks, and there's no greater feeling than winning at an away field, but there's no worse feeling than like losing, because you feel so stupid that you went to there.
Yeah, I went up to a Titans game in like 2016, and it was like freezing cold. The Jags got blown out. I was like, why am I here, dude? Like, what am I like? But the Denver game, when Minshew had that come from behind win, it was like the greatest experience ever. So, like you said, the good with the bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't know. Like it's just so exciting now that like, because the one game I went to, it was the Jaguars Texans game this year. And it was like, I went and it's Doug Marrone and Jake Luton. Now this year I go and it's going to be Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. It's like,
Yep.
oh my God, like
Yep.
I'm going to be able to go into a Jags game and finally see good quarterback play, because I was just getting so tired of just the shit quarterbacks that we're pulling out there, like just a terrible product. It's like, dude, finally, like we have something that like we can actually like look forward to, and I'm so excited for it.
It's like after a decade, we finally have some pride in our team. It's like 2017 was cool, but it was like defensive pride. Like now we're gonna have some like we can score points, and we haven't been in that position in a long time. So I'm really excited to have an offense that can finally score points.
Yeah. And I was sitting here, for the longest time, I was like, you know what, like you don't need good quarterback to, win games and win championships. Like you just had to build like a solid team. But man, like literally with the way the NFL is going, you saw the final four quarterbacks. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. Those are the three best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Then you have Tom Brady in there who, I mean, he's a great quarterback, but it's just his presence put them in there, and like they had good talent and everything, and I don't know, like it's just you need great quarterback play to be able to sustain success and go to the championship games. And just like when you watch Patrick Mahomes, like dude, Patrick Mahomes is going to be going to AFC championship after AFC championship, and that's who we're going to be competing against, man. And it's like I was sitting here, I was like, you know what, like. And I used to have people comment on my videos. They'd be like, oh, like, because I was like the ultimate Gardner Minshew hater this year. And I'm like, look, I don't hate Gardner Minshew, but like, I can't accept him anymore. Like I need, obviously, like if you put him on a 2017 Jaguars, he's probably better than Bortles. And he probably, does at least just as well as Bortles. But you know what I mean? Now I'm at the point where it's like, look, like, I want the best player on the team to be the quarterback. I want the quarterback to be able to elevate the team. Rosters are going to go up and down. The quarterback is what's going to be able to sustain it and, kind of make nothing out of wide receivers. And I don't know, like I was sitting here, I was like, look, like I'm tired of settling for mediocrity. I want my Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? I want that player. And I'm like, you know what? I'm jumping on a grenade. Week 3, I started rooting for the Jaguars. After that Dolphins game, I was like, look, our ceiling is 6-10. What has 6-10 got us? It's gotten us like the number 7 or 8 pick. It's gotten us cornerback CJ Henderson from Florida. Decent players, but like it's not franchise changing players. Like I'm finally ready to, lose out, get a quarterback, and not have to worry about this crap, for another 20 years.
I mean, the first 20 minutes of this show, we talked about various quarterbacks in the NFL and where they may go and what fits they are. It's because if you want to sustain success, you have to have a good quarterback. You can pop up and pop off for a year and be good and make a run with a good defense or a good running back. But if you want to sustain success, you have to have a good quarterback. And we saw that with Tampa this year, man. Tampa had a losing record last year, and now they're in the Super Bowl. It's all about the quarterback. It's the way the league wanted to go. It's the way the rules have gone. It's the way the NFL wanted to go. And here we are. And so that's, I mean, since the Jets lost and we got the number 1 pick, we've been partying. We've been partying hard because it was huge. I mean, I was a bigger Jets fan this year than Jags as far as like how much I watched them. I was like out to watch every Jets game because we needed them to lose. And when they did, I mean, look, us getting Trevor Lawrence, they set the wheels in motion to get Urban Meyer. All the free agents are going to want to come here. Like it's huge. It was huge. And it's all about the quarterback position, and the Wonder Boy, Trevor Lawrence, he's going to come here, and we're going to be a sustainable franchise. And that's what's scaring the national media so much. And I love to see him squirm and try to make up these trade scenarios of us like doing crazy stuff. But I love it, man. I'm pumped. I'm excited. This is the year, man. The next 5 years, let's do it, man.
Dude, I could tell you so much more about the Jets than I should be able to about the roster. I could tell you all about Marcus May, Quinnen Williams, like
Yeah,
all these guys that it's
yeah.
like, why do I know these guys' names? And it's like, because I've been so emotionally invested. And I just remember that day, man, when the Jaguars got stomped by the Ravens. It's like just another day. And then later on, the Jets play the Rams, whatever. Then it was like, obviously they got off to a big lead, and I'm like, all right, like they're gonna blow this. And it got to the third quarter, fourth quarter. I'm like, holy crap, like they actually have a chance, and they did it. And I was like, I went like live immediately after. We were like celebrating. It was like literally the craziest thing ever.
Oh, we were partying hard. I mean, dude, the game before that, or 2 games before that, when they blew the game at Oakland, and Oakland won, and Greg Williams threw the game. I mean, I was depressed, man. I was like, that was our chance. There's no game on the roster that the Jets are going to win. That was it. And then, like, I don't have to tell the fans. The fans know, man, this is huge. Trevor Lawrence is huge. I mean, he is head and shoulders better than everyone else in this draft. And, I'm speechless. There's going to be a Trevor Lawrence jersey on this wall very, very soon.
Dude, I can't wait to buy a Trevor Lawrence jersey. Dude, like I really can't wait. And I'm actually giving away, since I hit 10K, I'm giving away 2 Trevor Lawrence jerseys on the channel, guys. So to do that, you have to go join my Flick Chat app down below. The link is down below. I'm going to be giving it out in April. I'm giving away. I also gave away 3 shirts. I still have to mail them out, unfortunately. But all those guys, Washington State Jags fans, whoever won them, you guys know who you are. I am sending them out. I've just been kind of late to go do that, but they're getting out there. But yeah, the Jets fans, like Robert says, I've been watching Jets pods ever since the Jets won a game. Dude, the Jets fans are still pissed, dude. Like they're all over my Twitter. Like they're all over my Twitter, just like just like talking shit for no reason. It's like, look, like why are you guys still so salty? Like, you guys are talking up getting like Deshaun Watson, but you're gonna sit here and like, still be all butthurt about it all. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to move on.
Yeah, I mean, he's that good, and he's nothing you can say. I mean, he's that good. I mean, and I've seen Jets fans like, oh no, we're ride or die with Darnold. Oh, we're gonna get Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, hey, have fun with that, man. Have fun.
Yeah, dude, I gotta ask you though, like, because the combine this year, I remember last stream I was kind of talking about it. Then a lot of people were sitting here like, oh, the combine's been canceled, but I've been seeing players get invites to the combine. So do you know anything about what the combine is going to be like this year?
No, I mean, I don't know, honestly. I love the combine. I watch the combine every single year. I love watching offensive linemen run the 40-yard dash. I love seeing receivers do those drills. And I mean, I love it, man. There's so much pressure on those guys. I mean, it's as close as you can get to real-time football without actually being real-time football. I love it, man. I'm a football junkie. I love to see it. I love to see the coaches giving instructions because they give their coach speeches. And I love the combine, man. I haven't seen it. I mean, I have seen the invites to it. So, I can't understand why they would cancel it. It's not like it was like a thing where fans went to anyways, So
yeah,
hopefully they have it.
Yeah, like Brandon says, combine got canceled. Like I literally saw today on Trey Lance's Twitter account an invite to the combine. Let me see, Trey Lance. Let me look this up. Trey Lance combine. Yeah, so it says Trey Lance, dreams come true. He posted this today. Dear Trey Lance, congrats. You have been selected to participate in the 2021 NFL Scouting Combine. Amidst the global pandemic, this year's combine will look much different, but the goal remains the same. The combine is an opportunity for you to interact with NFL team personnel as they evaluate you in advance of the 2021 NFL Draft. Mitigating the risk of transmission of the COVID virus has guided us throughout the combine playing process. I mean, so that's a whole lot of nothing, but I mean, it's an invitation. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying pro days are replacing the combine, but I mean, what's the difference between a pro day and a combine? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what they're doing.
The thing that I was honestly looking forward to most about the combine this year was that they interview every GM, every head coach, and every player. Like, I wanted to see Trevor Lawrence interview. I wanted to see somebody ask the question about the Jaguars just to see how he'll react. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's not going to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to the Jags, but I just want to see him go out there and say, yeah, I mean, I'll go to any NFL team. You know what I mean? Just say it. I just want to see his reaction. And obviously, I want to see Urban Meyer talk because Urban Meyer, like, I want to hear him talk about the Jaguars personnel. Like, he is not named in any, like, public interview anything about anybody on the Jaguars. He's mentioned Lawrence, Justin Fields, and the BYU kid Zach Wilson, but nothing in the Jaguars personnel. I'm just fascinated. Even if it's all just going to be coach speak, I just want to hear him drop names of Jaguars, because it'll just be like it'll be like weird to hear him actually talk about the Jaguars, since all we really hear him talk about is just his Fox Sports coverage.
Do you think that Trevor Lawrence would have even gone to the combine if they had it? Like, what benefit would he have of going? I mean, he's the number one pick. It's unanimous. Everyone knows it. Would you even go?
I mean, you can go, but you don't have to participate and stuff. You know what I mean?
Hang out.
You can go do your weigh-ins. You can do all this different stuff. But if you're confident where you're going, like, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I sense him as a guy that he'll go out there and throw and stuff. Like, he knows where he is, and I think that the competitive nature that he has in him, I think he'd go out there and maybe not run a 40-yard dash, but at least go out there and do some throwing drills.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, for sure.
Devin Hale with a $5 donation. Thanks so much, man. Says, I've seen Waddle mocked around pick 15 of some drafts lately. Would you be all for trading up to get him? I'll let you start with this one.
I like Waddle, and the film he has from 2019 is outstanding, and he went into this season as probably the best receiver on that team. And I thought that he was, when Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs III got drafted in the first round, a lot of people thought Jalen Waddle was better than both of them. But the injury he had last year is going to put a lot of people just kind of like scared to make that pick that high. Man, I would love that pick. I would love to get, I'm all about getting Trevor Lawrence some weapons. I do think you're going to have to address the offensive line. And I realize there's like Orlando Brown Jr., Trent Williams. There's options, in free agency or to trade potentially. I would love Waddle on this team. Package him up with DJ Chark, and now you're looking at a pretty good dynamic duo. Laviska Shenault can kind of play everywhere. And now you're kind of shaping up to be a pretty dynamic offense. So depending on what you would have to trade up to get, unless you're given the farm to move up, I can't see a situation where I would be unhappy with that.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes those spots are kind of the sweet spots for wide receivers, really like the 20s. Like, I just pulled up kind of the leading receivers this year. Stephon Diggs, I don't think he was a first rounder. DeAndre Hopkins, he was a late first rounder. Justin Jefferson, he went in the 20s too. Calvin Ridley was a first rounder. Devontae Adams was a second round pick. So I don't know. Like, with me personally, like what I think we need to do this year, man, like my number one priority is that we need to reinforce the trenches, man. Like, we right now are lacking an offensive line and we're lacking a defensive line. Like it's just weak right now. And those are the foundations of the team. Like, really, at that first pick, like, I just want to get like a big guy, man. Like obviously, like, our defensive line was atrocious. I expect, at least one. We're definitely going to get multiple free agents, but I expect to, get the top, whether it be Leonard Williams or edge rusher. We're going to get some reinforcements there. And along the offensive line, it's tough for me to say that we need to go out there and get pay all the money to Trent Williams and stuff, just because we already have a lot of money allocated to the offensive line. So you almost wonder, do you want to pay Trent Williams a left tackle, then cut Andrew Norwell and bring in maybe try to bring in a rookie to play that position, or a highly drafted guy? I imagine I wonder if with Cam Robinson, do we tag him, whether it be a franchise tag for a 1-year thing, or do we transition tag him to where we can see what the market is offering him, and maybe we want to go ahead and match the contract. But I don't know, because I don't want to be cute with it. I just want to make sure that we are going into this season and we're not losing games because our offensive line sucks. We're not losing games because they're just gashing us on defense and we can't get any pressure on a quarterback. Those are some of my things. I know wide receivers are great, but I definitely, I don't know. I want to definitely put an importance on that kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to solidify the offensive line, like you said, but you can do it a number of different ways. I see everyone's mock draft. People do those mock draft simulators. Everyone that I've seen for the Jags has the Jags taking Alex Leatherwood with that second pick in the first round, which he essentially is Cam Robinson. That's essentially the same guy.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
same guy.
But if I'm a fan of going out and getting Trent Williams or trading for Orlando Brown because, and then, upgrade I think if you cut Norwell, you save $9 million on the cap. Bring in a right guard, bring in a left guard. You could draft those guys. I mean, I know Alabama, I think Deontay Brown's coming out like the 3rd round. He's a pretty serviceable guard. I think that would be good enough for Trevor Lawrence. If Bevel's going to come in and just throw the ball in 3-step drops and Urban's going to have design quarterback runs, read options, RPOs, you have to have playmakers. And I don't think Chark and Chenault are enough, and you have to help them. So there's a lot of options in free agents. I mean, there's a ton of receivers out there in free agency. You go out and get Allen Robinson, you're not drafting a wide receiver. You go out and get a Juju Smith-Schuster, you're not drafting a wide receiver. So it kind of depends on what they want to do. I think they're going to see who falls to them. I don't see them trading up, which they should, because they have an arsenal of picks, and you want to trade up when that's the case. So maybe they do trade up, and if they do, I think Waddle's a great spot there. I think there's like 15 offensive linemen mocked in the 1st round. So do you trade up and get an offensive lineman at like 15 or 16 or something like that? So they have a lot of options, and we could sit here and talk about different scenarios and speculate, and they could all be good ideas, but until we see what kind of happens, it's going to be hard to know.
Yeah, and Urban Meyer, he also comes across as more of an aggressive guy for me. Like Dave Caldwell never moved around the 1st round. Never moved up, never moved back. He always stayed pat. So, you wonder what the approach is. Like, Jaguars had the number 1 pick. You almost wonder if, like, all of a sudden, it's the 17th pick, and it's like Jaguars move up, and it's like, oh shit, like, I gotta get everything ready. As like me, I gotta have because I live react to all this stuff, so I gotta make sure I have everything set and ready. But you know what I mean? It's I just it's fascinating. I would love to know, because it's easier to predict Dave Caldwell. Like last year, I literally predicted CJ Henderson and Chase on. That was my prediction, and it came out true. I like with what's going on with Urban Meyer, I have no idea. You know what I mean? I have no idea what his mindset is with it all. Like I have no idea what he could do, but I'm just so fascinated to hear.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, there's a lot of scenarios that could happen, and Urban's going to explore every avenue. He does his homework. He does his research. He knows what he wants. It's going to happen. Like you said, it's going to happen quick. You're going to hear the commissioner say the Jags have traded up. The Jags are on the clock at, 15, and Jalen Waddle, and we're all going to be like, all right, let's do it. We're going to be pumped, and we're all going to be here. Like, you're going to be doing your live reaction show. We're going to be partying. So it's going to be great either way.
That's what I'm saying. I sit here and I say, I want to get an offensive line there, but man, if we move up and get like Jalen Waddle or something like that, you better believe I'll be excited, because I'm not one to ever I don't ever really go out there and really criticize draft picks, because it's like, look, like these guys did a lot more homework than me. They're a lot more, educated than me. I'll kind of accept how it is, but you know what I mean? That's usually how I am. But guys, we have 191 people in here. We're a little over an hour in, so we're probably going to end it here soon. I do want to just give thanks to everybody in here. You guys are awesome. Definitely drop likes if you guys can. Really shout out to all the members of the channel for like all you guys do. And of course, we do have Jason in here, man. I put the link to his channel down below, so definitely go over there, man. Hit him with a subscribe. He does a lot of great stuff over there, and I imagine you're going to be going live in probably in a couple of days, right?
Yeah, I was telling you before, in our little pre-show talk, I'm off this week, so I got nothing to do but talk about the Jags. So
hell yeah,
should be some good stuff coming.
Yeah, hell yeah. But thanks guys for being here, man. I'll definitely be dropping some videos in the next week. It's been a little bit slow for Jaguars news, so I'll probably get away from all the coaching stuff and maybe try to go more into personnel, like what we should do, really kind of toward free agency, or what we should do about particular players, whether it be Cam Robinson or Gardner Minshew, because obviously those are definitely some stuff up for debate, and it's never too early to get into all that stuff. So Jason, got any last words for me?
Dude, I just appreciate you having me on, dude. It's always a great time, man. I love it every single time.
Hell yeah. But all right, guys, thanks for being here, man. I will catch you guys later.